Welcome back everyone to another lesson. And in today's video, we'll be doing a deep dive into the intricate labyrinth of the narcissist's world. As we unravel the complexities of the narcissist abuse cycle, we are reminded of George Santayana's timeless words. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Today, we'll not only understand this cycle, but also empower ourselves to break free from its chains. So go ahead and fasten your seatbelts because we are about to embark on a journey of self-discovery and healing. Let's delve into the patterns that bind us and find strength to rewrite our own stories. The narcissistic abuse cycle is not just a series of incidents. It is a systematic pattern of psychological manipulation and control. And understanding it is crucial for victims, survivors, and society at large. Now, to understand the abuse cycle, we must first understand its stages, and they are idealization, devaluation, discard, and hoovering. The cycle starts with idealization, where the narcissist portrays themselves as the perfect partner or friend. They shower you with affection, attention, and love. This phase is like a fairy tale, and it is intentional. It is designed to hook you emotionally. You see, at their core, pathological narcissists are emotional manipulators. So let's go ahead and delve deeper to get a better understanding of the idealization phase. The idealization phase is also commonly called love bombing. It is important to understand that pathological narcissists, however, are incapable of love. Love bombing is one of the many emotional manipulation tactics that narcissists use to get their victims to drop their guards. During the love bombing phase, the narcissist bombards the victim with excessive attention, compliments, trips, gifts, and other expressions of love. They appear incredibly charming, attentive, and ideal, making the victim feel adored and cherished. This overwhelming display of affection creates an emotional high for the victim, making it hard to resist the narcissist's charm. Narcissists excel at mirroring the victim's desires, interests, and values. They pretend to share common hobbies, beliefs, and goals, creating a false sense of a deep connection. This mirroring tactic makes the victim believe they've found someone who truly understands and accepts them. So, the narcissist paints a beautiful picture of a future together. They make elaborate plans, promising a life filled with happiness, stability, and love. These promises often involve marriage, children, or long-term commitments, creating a sense of security and hope in the victim. During idealization, the narcissist's affections know no bounds. They might send constant messages, shower you with gifts, or plan surprise dates. Their attention feels intoxicating, leading the victim to believe they found their perfect match or a good friend. Do not think that narcissists are naive. In the idealization phase, the narcissist provides relentless validation and approval. They make the victim feel exceptionally special and valued, boosting their self-esteem. This constant validation creates a dependency on the narcissist for feelings of self-worth. This entire scheme is a grand manipulation orchestrated by the narcissist. They use these tactics not out of genuine love, but to create a strong emotional attachment. This attachment becomes a tool for control in the later stages of the abuse cycle. Relationships with narcissists often escalate quickly during the idealization phase. Declarations of love and commitment happen rapidly, creating a whirlwind of romance. This speed and intensity further captivates the victim, making it challenging to see potential red flags. It is important to note that the idealization phase is not based on genuine emotions, but is a calculated tactic used by narcissists to draw their victims in. Once the victim is emotionally invested, the narcissist moves on to the devaluation phase, where the manipulation and emotional abuse intensifies. Understanding this phase is crucial for recognizing the cycle of abuse and taking steps towards healing and recovery. Now that we have discussed the idealization or the love bombing phase, let's go ahead and get into the devaluation phase. Narcissistic relations operate similarly to a stock crash. It starts high and then gets low and lower. The euphoric phase of love bombing doesn't last. Soon, the narcissist begins the devaluation stage. Here, they will criticize, demean, and belittle you. Nothing you do is ever good enough. You're left bewildered and questioning your self-worth. It's a deliberate tactic to break you down emotionally and mentally. Now, here is a detailed explanation of the devaluation phase. The devaluation phase in the narcissistic abuse cycle is a profoundly painful stage where the narcissist's behavior shifts dramatically from adoration and affection to cruelty and disdain. This phase typically follows the idealization stage, during which the victim was idealized or put on a pedestal. During devaluation, narcissists start to criticize, belittle, and demean their victims. They may mock the victim's achievements, appearance, or abilities. Nothing the victim does seems good enough, and the narcissist actively seeks out flaws to exploit. Narcissists are skilled at emotional manipulation because this is behavior that they have practiced since their childhood. In the devaluation phase, they use tactics like gaslighting, blame shifting, and silent treatment to confuse and control their victims. Now, if you're unfamiliar with these terms, that is okay, because in a following lesson, I'll cover these manipulation tactics and many more in detail. However, understand that in the devalue phase, narcissists will bring out the guns, so to speak, because you are at war. Narcissistic abuse is spiritual warfare, as they are trying to extinguish your spirit, extinguish your light, and break you at your core. What they're doing is that they're trying to create a constant state of emotional turmoil in hope that it leaves their victims feeling disoriented and desperate to please them. Affection, attention, and love, which were abundant during the idealization phase, now become scarce. The narcissist withdraws physical and emotional intimacy, leaving the victim feeling unloved and unwanted. This withdrawal reinforces the victim's dependence on the narcissist for approval. Simultaneously, the narcissist may idealize other people, making comparisons that highlight the victim's perceived shortcomings. They might praise others excessively, making the victim feel insecure and unworthy in comparison. At this stage in the narcissist game, they often introduce a third party into the relationship dynamic, a tactic known as triangulation. They might flirt with others, have emotional affairs, physical affairs, or create situations that make the victim jealous and insecure. This manipulation tactic further destabilizes the victim's self-esteem. The devaluation phase often includes humiliation and verbal abuse. So, narcissists may insult, degrade, or scream at the victim, eroding their confidence and self-worth. This verbal aggression is meant to exert control and instill fear in the victim. Narcissists use a tactic called intermittent reinforcement, alternating between moments of praise and criticism. They might offer fleeting affection and approval only to withdraw it abruptly and replace it with harsh criticism. This also creates confusion and emotional dependency. The consistent emotional abuse during devaluation leads to intense self-doubt. Victims often isolate themselves, feeling ashamed or believing the narcissist's negative portrayal of them. This isolation further strengthens the narcissist's control. Understanding the devaluation phase is crucial for victims to recognize the abuse cycle and take steps towards breaking free from the toxic entanglement. The devaluation phase is a period of immense emotional pain, but awareness and support can empower victims to reclaim their self-worth and start rebuilding their lives. Unfortunately, this cycle does not end here, so let's go ahead and discuss the discard phase. You see, pathological narcissists are energy vampires, and when they feel they have extracted enough emotional energy from you, they'll move to the discard phase. Suddenly, you're no longer valuable to them. They abandon you emotionally and sometimes physically. For those on the receiving end of this treatment, the pain of rejection and abandonment can be devastating. So let's go ahead and delve deeper into the discard phase. The discard phase in the narcissistic abuse cycle is a deeply hurtful and confusing stage where the narcissist abruptly ends the relationship or withdraws their affection and attention. This leaves the victim feeling discarded, devalued, and emotionally devastated. During the discard phase, the narcissist suddenly withdraws all the love, affection, and attention they had previously showered on the victim. This emotional withdrawal is often sudden and without warning, leaving the victim in a state of shock and disbelief. The discard phase may involve intensified devaluation, where the narcissist criticizes and belittles the victim. They may highlight perceived flaws and shortcomings, further damaging the victim's self-esteem. Simultaneously, the narcissist may idealize a new source of narcissistic supply. They may flaunt a new partner or seek attention from others openly. This comparison makes the victim feel inadequate and replaces them with someone new in the narcissist's life. Narcissists often engage in gaslighting and blame shifting during the discard phase. They may deny past promises, manipulate events, and make the victim feel as if the breakup is entirely their fault. This further confuses and disorients the victim. The discard phase might involve the silent treatment, where the narcissist completely ignores the victim or stops responding to messages and calls, and this is what we call ghosting. This tactic is meant to create emotional distress and keep the victim hanging in uncertainty. The victim experiences a profound emotional roller coaster during this discard phase, oscillating between feelings of heartbreak, anger, confusion, and desperation. The sudden withdrawal of love and attention causes immense emotional pain. After the discard phase, narcissists may attempt to hoover the victim back into the relationship. Hoovering involves manipulative tactics to regain the victim's attention, often using false promises, apologies, or even threats. These attempts can create further confusion and self-doubt for the victim. The discard phase has a severe impact on the victim's self-esteem and ability to trust others. They may struggle with feelings of worthlessness, insecurity, and a fear of future relationships. Understanding the discard phase is crucial for victims to recognize the manipulative tactics employed by narcissists. It's a painful period, but recognizing the patterns of emotional abuse is the first step towards healing and breaking free from the toxic relationship. The abuse cycle still does not end here. It actually gets more insidious. After discarding you, the narcissist might attempt to hoover you back into their life. The hoover phase is named after the famous vacuum cleaner company. It is a manipulative tactic employed by narcissists to suck their victims back into the abusive cycle after a period of separation or discard. They use manipulative tactics such as apologies, promises of change, or even threats to lure you back into their web. This cycle can repeat endlessly if you allow it. During the hoover phase, the narcissist attempts to reestablish contact with the victim. This can happen through various means such as phone calls, text messages, emails, or even in-person visits. They may use seemingly innocent reasons like checking in on the victim's well-being or expressing remorse for past actions. To draw the victim back in, the narcissist often resorts to love bombing, a tactic where they shower the victim with excessive affection, attention, and praise. So they may idealize the victim, reminding them of the initial stages of the relationship when everything seemed perfect. Oftentimes, this sudden urge of positive attention can be overwhelming and confusing for the victim. The narcissist may offer false promises of change and improvement. They might apologize profusely for their past behavior, expressing regret and claiming to have seen the errors of their ways. Victims are often manipulated by these promises, desperately hoping for a positive change in the relationship. Another tactic employed during the hoover phase is the narcissist playing the victim. They may portray themselves as deeply hurt, misunderstood, or mistreated by others, including the victim. This manipulation aims to evoke sympathy and compassion from the victim, making it harder for them to resist the narcissist's advances. Narcissists might engage in gaslighting during the hoover phase, denying past abusive behaviors or manipulating events to make the victim doubt their own perceptions. They may distort reality, making it challenging for the victim to discern the truth from the narcissist's lies. Now, in some cases, if the victim resists the hoover attempts, the narcissist may resort to threats and intimidation. They could threaten to expose embarrassing information, manipulate mutual connections, or use other forms of coercion to regain control over the victim. The hoover phase oftentimes has a profound emotional impact on the victim. This is because it creates a cycle of hope and despair, making it challenging for the victim to break free from the narcissist's control. Victims may experience heightened anxiety, confusion, guilt, and self-doubt during this phase. Understanding the hoover phase is crucial for victims to recognize the manipulation tactics used by narcissists. During this time, ensure that you are maintaining no contact, and additionally, ensure that you're seeking support from supportive friends, coaches, family members, or even therapists. Recovery from abusive relationships is possible, but you need to be able to see the signs, because if you can see the signs, then you can stop the abuse. Breaking free from this cycle requires immense strength and support. It starts with recognizing the patterns and acknowledging the abuse. You will need to get the courage to walk away and stay away from these toxic personality types. Abusive people, regardless of their title, should have no space in your life. Establishing no contact is a vital step in reclaiming your life. In conclusion, understanding the narcissistic abuse cycle is pivotal. It is not merely about the abuser's actions, but also the survivor's resilience. By arming ourselves with knowledge and supporting each other, we can break this cycle, heal, and build healthier, happier lives. Remember, folks, there is peace on the other side of abuse when you get the courage to walk away and stay away. Thank you again for joining us in another lovely lesson, and I'll catch you in the next one.